What if I told you one simple tweak could double your inbound leads literally overnight? It sounds crazy, right? But I've seen it happen over and over again. In fact, just recently, I worked with a client named Rachel who was struggling to get leads. I mean, she was posting consistently, she was showing up daily, but getting almost zero responses. And we made one simple shift in her content. Within 24 hours, she had 47 quality leads. And by the end of 2 weeks, we ran a conversion content campaign, which I'll explain more in just a second. She had 197 inbound leads. And this was all from her Facebook profile that had 2,875 friends on it. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what we changed so you can apply it to your content and start seeing similar results, hopefully, immediately. Now, let's go ahead and dive in. The first part I want to go into here is the big problem that I see with most content. And this is why I believe that most coaches aren't getting either enough inbound leads or consistent inbound leads from their content. A, their content is just too generic. Or B, it's not speaking to the right people. Or C, it's not creating enough emotional connection. And because of that, their dream clients literally will scroll right past. I mean, for real, like think about how your ideal client uses social media. Depending who you serve, they might be in different scenarios. Maybe they're at the office and they have a quick like 2, 3 minutes and they're scrolling through, or they're in the Starbucks line, or they're in their kids pickup line, or they're laying late at night in bed. And I like think about how they're scrolling. If you don't grab their attention, like literally grab them by the eyeballs and get them to consume your content, they're going to scroll right past. Because let's be real, how many times have you posted something hoping for engagement, but all you got were a couple likes from maybe your friends and your mom? I don't know. Or on the complete opposite, you do post something, but it's more generic. It's more, you're trying to go viral and you get tons of engagement. You maybe get hundreds or thousands, but it's like finding a needle in a haystack to try to find an ideal client. It's like you get tons of engagement, but you're not converting it. Either scenario there is pretty damn frustrating. And it ends up you having to go out there and DM a lot of people and having to do so much outbound. But the problem here is not necessarily volume. It's the problem isn't the content, or it's not that you're usually in most cases it's not that you're not consistent enough. The problem a lot of times comes down to messaging. Like, you are you saying the right words in the right way in the right order, because it does matter whether you're writing a post or a video, the order you do things. And are you saying it in the to the right people, right? So think about that for a second, because there's one simple shift that will immediately make your content start attracting more leads than ever before. Your content needs to open a mental loop that your dream clients feel compelled to need to close. I want you to think about your favorite, whether it's Netflix show or movie, Netflix shows or Apple, TV, whatever. You get my drift. Those kind of they do really well. Like the best shows open a loop. Or when you're reading a really good book, the best books keep you wanting to read. So, what is a mental loop? There's different ways that we can do this. But if you do this correctly, you're going to find so much more people want to reach out to you. I accidentally discovered this, and I'll go into how you could do it, but I want to give you some context here, as I think it will help. Is I remember when I was running my online fitness business, and I kept having all these people being like, Jason, man, I am freaking eating healthy. I am like, I'm out walking. I'm doing all this stuff, and they were like proud, and I'm like, awesome. How are things going? They're like, oh yeah, I'm just not. I can't lose my belly fat. I just don't know what to do. And people came to me because I was like niched into the stubborn belly fat. Like I was the guy people came to, which is again a whole nother video for a whole nother day. And I can walk through a little bit of that process in just a second. But I used to be like, hey, no, no, no. It's about eating right, not just healthy. It's about eating right, not just healthy. So I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying here. Because part of a mental loop is shifting people's beliefs. It's opening up, it's planting the seed in their head. And so what I would do is I would just say that. I didn't even know what I was saying. I was just like being honest. I was like, you got to eat right. And people were like, what does that mean? And I used to get hit up so many times. People would be like, hey, what exactly does eating right mean? And then I started to explain it. I'd be like, well, you got to dial in your calories. You got to get your macronutrients right. You got to make sure you're eating foods that are sustainable. There's all these factors, and people would tell me more. And it kept these loops were open. They needed to close it, right? So that's just some context and an example here. But it's when you make your audience think like, wait, I need to know the answer to this. I need to know more. And you could strategically do this. And I'll unpack this here right now of how you could do this. Step one is you want to start with an open-ended, curiosity-driven hook. So the first thing that you want to do, whether you're writing content or you're starting to unpack content in a video, your first sentence should create an immediate gap in the reader's mind. Or when you're starting to unpack things, like if you're going to start talking about just your perspectives on things, you want to be able to open something up so the viewer is like, I got to hear more. So some examples of this are like, you don't need to post content that attracts leads. That's boring, right? It's a boring kind of like okay. Scroll stopping is most coaches are making this huge mistake that's costing them leads and they don't even know it. Are you making this mistake? It's like people want to know, like, am I? I freaking don't know. Right. So another example of this is like you need to get better at sales. Okay. Something that will stop the scroll is if you're getting ghosted on sales calls, you're probably making this one mistake. You see the difference? Like people are gonna want to know more if you're speaking the right messaging, you're speaking the right lingo to them. One is static, the other creates this open loop that forces the reader or forces the viewer to stop and pay attention. And we'll go back into the belief thing in just a second because that to me has been one of the most impactful things to open a loop and to really get people to take better action, take more empowered action we're able to shift their perspectives and their beliefs into what you know to be true. And so in this kind of, I'm going to kind of go in order here uh, in terms of like how I would write a piece of content or how I would create a video. Step two is like, we want to make your audience feel the problem before you give them the solution. Make them sit in the pain of the problem or make them kind of see the future that they could be, the desire, the dream outcome, the aspirational identity. So an example of this is like if I was writing a post, it'll be easier for me to give you an example. It'd be like, hey, if you feel like you're doing everything right, but no one is reaching out to you, you're showing up, you're giving value, but your DMs are silent. You're not alone, and there's a reason for it. So like this will hit somebody that is currently out there. They're freaking like, I'm posting, I'm doing all this stuff, but like I'm not getting anybody reaching out to me. It's like they're feeling that. Like, right? You want to make people feel it first, right? Because people won't take action if they don't feel it, right? They're just going to keep going after the next dopamine hit online. They're going to scroll and like they're going to try to take away their pain by consuming content or whatever else freaking people do. So you want to make people feel it, right? This makes the person say, "Oh my god," as my son says, my 5-year-old's like, "OMG, OMG, this is me," you know. And then step three here is we want to deliver the solution in a way that feels unique once you give it to them, right? You want to give them your unique insight or perspective. So it feels new, it's novel, it's different, not just another value tip. So even in me delivering this today, this is my unique perspective on how to do this. What did you think I was going to say when I opened up with like, here's this tip to double your inbound leads? And I'm not even done yet, by the way. But like, I'm not just like, post like this. It's like, no, I'm like giving you my unique perspective on how to open loops and how to actually get people to like literally need, because it's human need to close a loop, right? And so you don't want to just give another value tip. Boring. Like nobody's going to want to reach out to you for that. You want to actually be able to give your novel insights. So a simple example of this that I've used before is like most coaches think that more content will get them more leads. But the truth, more content doesn't fix bad messaging. If you fix your messaging and suddenly your content will start to work 10 times better sometimes. And it's with less effort because your messaging is doing the heavy lifting for you. Like on this fact, by the way, because this will help you watching this video right now, is I have a new client and he's like really taking the messaging seriously, which is what I try to tell everybody to do, right? I've worked with him on it, and like the conversation that we had is like the more you could spend with like really not just like going over an avatar worksheet with most people do, but like really going deep in your messaging and really laying it out. Then you put it into your content or your ads or whatever you're doing. Oh my god, like the conversions are insane. It's so much easier to convert. So anywho, when you structure your content like this, like I just kind of outlined, your audience will become obsessed. They're going to start to engage more. They're going to DM you. They're going to start to see you as the person who has the answers they need. Okay. And so before I go into the last part here, and I want to give you some kind of tactical takeaways here, I just want to harp on this like whole belief shifting thing, because this is one of the most important things. You can write this down. The 4, quote unquote sales that you have to make in your marketing that get more people to reach out to you and that like basically pre-sell people is you got to sell them on a new belief. So I gave you that example there before, right? People thought they just needed to eat healthy. And I was just like, that's a great start. But if you're not losing, in my case, my niche was belly fat, then you're not eating right. in that belief plants a seed of like, whoa, I didn't think about it like that. I just thought I had to freaking eat like, lettuce and an apple, and then magically I'd lose all my fat, my belly fat. And so shifting that belief is so key. The second thing is we want to be able to sell people on a aspirational identity. This gets people motivated. And so if you're just like, yeah, I'll show you how to lose 30 pounds, awesome. But you're now like they have to you're relying on them to now think about the aspirational identity, which can happen in some cases. I like to just tell it to them. Right? I like to bring that out more. Like you're gonna be that fit parent that's gonna be an amazing role model for your kids. In my case, I'm like, I'm going to show you how to become sought after in your sub niche. I'm going to show you how to become the go-to for the problem that you solve, right? Aspirational identity. And then the third sale is going to be your unique perspective, your unique mechanism. In the marketing term, would be like unique mechanism, unique solution. But honestly, it's like your unique perspective on the problem that you're solving for people. Like in my case, I like people know me for messaging and content. I do so much more, but people know me because I have a lot of novelty. I have a lot of unique perspectives and solutions around messaging. I have our magic messaging makeover, right? I have our conversion content systems. In fitness, I had what I called flexible fuel nutrition. I had metabolic intensity training. I had these things that I named, and the names aren't that important, by the way. It's really your unique perspectives and how you communicate that. Sorry. And then the fourth sale is going to be social proof. The more you could show like it working and tell stories, not just like, hey, my client said amazing things about me. No, like telling stories, right? Like I just did a little bit with Rachel, and then I think I did a video where I unpacked that as well. You tell stories around it, and that's what makes people be like, oh. So that, by the way, is a little bonus here. So, but anyways, let me give you some real proof that this works. So let me show you this how this actually works in action. And I'm gonna go ahead and use Rachel since she's on my mind. So I was just referencing her before. She had literally less than 3,000 friends on Facebook, 2,875. Okay, she was posting, but she wasn't really getting people reaching out to her. And I've seen this too, like with people that have massive followings. They have and massive is contextual depending on what you think massive is. Anyways, I don't want to go into that there, but some people might have 10,000 followers. I've helped people that have over 200. Even one guy had over 600,000 followers, and they just weren't really cracking they were plateaued in their sales, right? So this can go in a lot of different ways, and it all comes down to the same principles. Whether you have the wrong people reaching out and you're just not consistently booking calls, or you have literally no one reaching out. And so with Rachel, we applied this one shift to her content. We refined her messaging. We created a unique angle to her brand, and we applied that into her content. And then we structured her posts in a way to open a mental loop to where people literally had to do it. So one of the posts was basically like I'm giving away my exact meal plan that I use to be able to get these types of results. And people needed to see it. They were like, because Rachel's really fit, and people were like, what is she eating? And it opened a loop, right? I once did this when I was training to be on American Ninja Warrior. I once did this to where it's like, who wants to see my American Ninja Warrior eating regimen or something like that? It honestly was super basic, right? It's like I eat eggs and like protein shakes. It's like not super fun, but like people want to see it, right? And then with Rachel, we ran a content campaign, and it was basically around like her unpacking a bit of her unique mechanism, and we framed the content in that way. But it opens a mental loop of people being like, I gotta freaking see this. Like, what is she gonna say? It's different. There's novelty to it. And so when we did this, firstly, within 24 hours to her meal plan post that I had her do, she got 47 leads, pretty quality leads. And by the end of the 2 weeks when we ran the campaign for around her unique mechanism, she had 197 people that responded to her call to action. And she's booking calls like crazy. This wasn't luck. This isn't magic. I know I call it magic messaging. It isn't actually magic. It's psychology. It's storytelling. It's great copywriting, right? We use this exact strategy with hundreds of coaches, over 221 at this point. And the results are not always 197 in 2 weeks, but they get more engagement than they ever have. They get more inbound leads than they ever have. They get more DMs from people that are like literally ready to buy, like ready to buy prospects, because they've opened this loop. They've shifted beliefs. Now people are ready to take the actions. Like they're curious. Like they want to know more. And now it's your turn. So here's what I want you to do next. This is your challenge I'm giving to you today. I want you to go back and look at your last few posts. You can go to last week, 2 weeks, whatever it is for you. Did your opening line create curiosity? And what was the opening line in your written post and your videos? Did it create any elements of curiosity to want people to continue to watch or read? Did your content make the reader or the viewer feel something? Did it make them want to reach out? Did your call to action, was it a no-brainer to make them want to reach out to you? And lastly, did you shift people's perspectives? Did you help to discredit some of the maybe or dismantle some of the false beliefs or objections they have? Did you shift their perspectives into what you know to be true? Did you share stories? If the answer is no to any of these, then your content isn't opening a mental loop. So what I want you to do is I want you to try this today. I want you to craft one post using this framework that I just outlined. And I'll post it down below in a document so you could just swipe it. And if you're listening on audio, just shoot me a DM and just reference this video or this podcast, and I'll send you the framework so you can have it as a visual. Use a curiosity driven hook to open a loop and make your audience feel the problem before giving them the solution. Don't just be like blah, 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 like vomit out a bunch of stuff to them. Like sit with it. Like you know, practice this and add a very clear, compelling call to action so they know what to do next. And if you need help crafting it, I have a right now at the time of me recording this, I don't know, it might be full, and so this is a very light, indirect, like just invite to work with me. No hard sales here or anything like that. I do have a done for you service and a co-creation service right now that we're filling spots for. That's what Rachel is in right now, the kind of co-creation where I'm helping her like write copy and getting on Zoom sessions with her. We do have spots, so if you're looking for somebody to help you, by somebody me, craft it for you and like literally help you build out the marketing campaigns and write all the copy and all that stuff for you, the hooks, the call to actions, all the stuff, shoot me a message on Facebook, and I'll put a link below that you can just like literally click and shoot me a message on Facebook, or if you're on Instagram, I'll check both. And I'll send you a breakdown. I'll send you details of like how that service works, and like if it would be right for you. So if this video was helpful, make sure you hit the like button. It lets me know that you want more content like this, and I will continue to put more stuff out like this. And again, if you want me to help you craft a campaign that consistently attracts high quality inbound leads, then shoot me a DM and make sure to click subscribe. I know it's a lot of call to actions in one video, isn't it? But click subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, my friend. Lastly, I would just love to know like what your biggest struggle is with content. So feel free to drop that in the comment section below. I will be answering every comment, and if I know what your struggles are, to help me come up with better content too that I can provide to you on this channel. So that's it for today, my friend. Go apply this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.